here.
Thank you for having me.
This is super cool. Fun fact for all of you, Brian actually shot something with me in 2017 that never got released. I never even edited it because I had to learn to trust my magic.
Okay.
So thank you for being here for the podcast. So guys, my name is Kristen V. Carter. I'm super excited to be here today to interview my dear friend, DJ and philanthropist, Brian Henry. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Kristen. How you doing?
I'm awesome. I'm really excited.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all up in my house and making this a set, and it's just gonna be great. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So first off, when I was thinking about just our conversation for today, I wanted to take a look back at our relationship.
Sure.
Do you remember how we met?
I remember two different instances. I'm not sure which was first. I think the twins, Janika and Jashika, were having a birthday party at 7th and Grand, and you were in a writing fellowship program then, and so a few people were all brought together. I think that's one moment. But then the moment that stands out is the most distinctive when you got like solidified in terms of the friendship was I was playing at the Room. I was DJing, cherry popping on a Wednesday night, and I played Aaliyah's Beats for the Streets, which is like the intro track to her One in a Million album. I integrate that into my set. And you ran up to me like, oh my God, who are you? Like, I've never heard anybody play this track. And I'm looking up DJ, but like, huh? I was like, okay. Like you were so excited. And
yes.
So that's the distinctive moment.
Yes, you guys don't understand. What he's saying is very true. I ran up, I had my hands wide open, like, oh my God. I can't believe you played this. So, yes, we did meet before. I had to go through my emails. Before this, I was like, wait, did we meet before that? Yeah. We did meet before that. But then when I saw you then, I was like, I have to know this guy. And I sent you an email the next day.
What made that song special?
Well, first of all, just Aaliyah is amazing.
Obviously, yes.
And it's one of my favorite tracks on that album. I would say the intro and the outro.
Yeah.
Came to Give Love, I play all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? So
I was really, really excited about that. And I wrote him an email after. I was like, hey, what are your goals? Like, you're so awesome. Like, I would love to collaborate. And it's like, why would you want to collaborate with a DJ? But it's like, I just wanted to collaborate with you. I just wanted to get to know you.
And then fast forward years later, we're friends and we still together.
So, at the time, how long had you been DJing at that time? So
at that time, I may have only been DJing 2 or 3 years at that moment. That was a while ago. It's a good minute ago. It was definitely in those beginning stages. I remember because I was so excited to play those nights, and beforehand I was getting brushed to the side like, yeah, we'll get to you one day. And
it's so funny because when I ask him about DJing certain spots, he'd be like, no, Chris.
No, because I mean, you just like anything else creatively, you're blessed to do it, and you're excited to do it, and you do it for a number of times, and then you advance and you progress.
Yeah, for sure. So you were known as Hollywood's champion of new sound. Are you still known as that?
I'm a champion of new sound,
okay.
But the Hollywood part just got cut out. That was my tagline for a number of years. DJ Behan, Hollywood's champion of new sound. And it's like when you're coming into a saturated market when there's so many other creators in the same space, it was used as something to distinguish me and differentiate me in comparison to my colleagues and my peers. And it's funny because people say that every now and then because I used to always tap it like, Hollywood's champion of new sound. So I would play it so much during my set, but it was more from the branding element. And what that means and what that meant was that, unequivocally unafraid to play things that really take you on a different journey. You know what I mean? And especially starting off in LA, back when I started playing, it was like play top 40. And that was like code word for like play music that's appealing to white people. And, I'm so thankful that I grew out of that, but then also, just lean more into my own creative voice. But more than anything else, it's just a tagline to just distinguish me and let people know that I'm the champion. I'm the champ.
Okay. So at that time, thinking back to your starting days, your early days, did you believe that you were champion of new sound, and why or why not?
I definitely believe that, that my musical ear was slightly different. And that I was not interested in playing the same soundtrack as everyone else. And so that made me feel like I was a champion, and I was going to champion artists from different regions and different, parts of the world that may otherwise not get exposure here in Los Angeles.
Okay,
So yeah.
okay. So when you started out, how long had you been thinking about DJing before you decided to
Listen,
embark
I've
on
been wanting
it?
to be a DJ since I was like 5. But it took 20 years for that to manifest. You know what I mean? I think I spent so much time doing everything that everyone encouraged me to do or everyone expected me to do, and took that journey for so long. But I was miserable. I was unhappy in corporate America and doing a lot of things that sounded nice, had my resume stacked, but I was miserable. And so when I stepped away from that to jump into DJing, that's when things shifted.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you that guy in corporate America that like spun the parties, like the corporate parties, or you just
No, I was coming with suits and slacks and, casual Friday was still like an Oxford style shirt with some loafers. You know what I mean? Like
I can't even imagine
me
that.
either. Thank God that version has been put to bed. But no, I was just really engaged. Like I was in marketing and I wanted to lean into more the digital media aspect of marketing to push into entertainment. And I was actually on my way to business school. Like I had done a summer program at Harvard Business School called Summer Venture and Management Program. I'd done a 9-month program at UCLA Anderson School of Management. I was very much on that path to, shout out to my Reardon Fellows, to go to B school. But I just wasn't happy. You know what I mean? I know it would be an amazing process, advancing in more education, but if I wasn't gonna be happy, then what was the point?
So was there a particular moment? Did you have a dream? Did you wake up one day and just be like, F it, I'm just gonna go after it?
My boss tried it on me one day. And, the company I was working for at the time, they did a reorg. And the boss that I had, she was incredible, but within the reorg, I had a new person. And this new person sat in Texas, even though I was in Los Angeles. And she just was overwhelmingly adamant about me being in the office, and she didn't understand the culture of California. Like, we work from home 2 days a week, and we still get our work done. But in Texas, she's like, And so one day she called. Well, she sent me a message, instant message, like a little ping. She said, "Brian, where are you?" I said, "I'm in the office." She said, "No, you're not." I said, "Yes, I am." She said, "I thought we talked about this." I'm like, "We did." She said, "Well, why are you not in the office?" I said, "I am in the office." She said, "Well, I called your desk. You didn't pick up." I said, "Because I'm in the conference room." And I was in the conference room listening to music while doing my work. You know what I mean? And at that particular moment, I said, "You know what? Nah, this ain't gonna work." You know what I mean? And it just showed me that I was just in the wrong place. So even though I was there doing my work, I wasn't in the exact position where she wanted me to be. And although I was upset at her, I had to ask myself, well, who are you really upset with? And I realized it was with me because I wasn't being courageous enough to step out and do what I knew I was passionate about.
So at that time, had you told anybody that you wanted to DJ, or was it just something?
Yeah, I told a few people, and they were like, "You really gonna leave your good paying job to go be a DJ?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like at that point, I said, "I'll do it for a year, try it out." I had a little savings, and if it didn't work out, I'd go to B school. You know what I mean? I felt like I would have a great admission story.
Okay.
And that was 12 years ago.
All right. So we're going to go a little, all over the place. But if you weren't DJing, what would you be doing?
DJing. No, it would still be something involved with music. You know what I mean? Very much, I realize that music is a tool, but it really, for me, it's beyond just DJing, the act of DJing. This is the function of, bringing a lot of love and light to people. You know what I mean? Like, I want my journey to represent something where people see like, yo, like, well, he did it and he's passionate about this that he's gifted to do. Well, what am I passionate about? Like, I want the journey to be less about focusing on me as a DJ and focus more on like, you can pursue your passion as well. You know what I mean? So something in the space of, being a leader, motivational speaker, or something along that spot, that space.
Okay, awesome.
But for right now, the answer is still DJ. Because people actually like, if you had all the money in the world, what would you doing? The same thing I'm doing now. You know what I mean?
No, that's super cool. So tell me a little bit about when you first got started. How were those first sessions? Like, did you ever choke? Were you ever like super nervous, or did you ever have issues playing records and things like that?
I don't know his name, but he was one of the members of City High,
and he was a guy on
You talking about Ryan Toby?
is that his name? He was on
Sister Act 2?
Yeah.
My favorite movie of all time.
Listen, so one of my first gigs, he came up to me. He's like, "Bro, you suck. You are trash. Like you couldn't find a transition if somebody handed it to you." And I was like, "Damn." You know what I mean? And at that time I wasn't that great, you know what I mean? And it was less about being nervous, but more so just like wanting to make sure I did things right, you know what I mean, or just do things in a certain way. And at the beginning, you don't know what you're doing. You just know you love music. I know I had an ear for music, and so that's why I went to school. I went to Scratch Academy. You know what I mean? It wasn't enough to want to do it, but I wanted some type of training. And you can learn on YouTube. You can learn from your friends, but those things are not inconsistent. When you're in a space of learning something new, you need that consistency. And so being able to go to class every week, have those sessions with, shout out to Hoppa, shout out to Mr. Chalk from the Beat Junkies, like being able to go with them into those sessions on a not only a weekly basis, but outside of the classroom, having those one-on-one sessions. It just taught me a lot. You know what I mean? It taught me a lot of the foundations and fundamentals of DJing that still carry with me today.
Okay. So around what time do you feel like you started playing from your heart?
Ooh. That took a while. I'm not even gonna lie. Simply because at the beginning I still was in my people pleasing phase of life, and so it felt like I was beginning to get a little bit of notoriety or recognition from making people dance, but it was playing music that other people wanted to hear. And I feel like I fought that for a long time, and people walk away from the party high five and belly slapping. They had the greatest time, but I'm like, I'm tired of playing swag surfing. I'm tired of playing BBD Poison. I know that's one of your favorite songs. I'm tired of, I don't got no more whistles to blow. You know what I mean? And then you just get to the point where, you know what, like those are all amazing songs. That's why you play them, but I had to dig deeper. And that's when you get to the flips, the edits, and the remixes. And so I don't know the exact moment I started playing from my heart, but whenever I did, it reignited the passion all over again. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So
I mean, that's a part of what we're talking about, trusting your magic.
No, absolutely. Because I'm trying to think for myself, just even hearing you when you started to really tap into different things. I would say transitions, remixes, things I didn't listen to. Y'all, I'm a super 90s head, so like
super.
I've had to learn to open and expand my mind.
But you had a great time the other night when you came to the party.
Yes. You know? No, I think I am.
And I played like only 3 90s songs, and I even mixed Chubb Rock. Treat 'Em Right with Beyonce's Move. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember that.
Yeah, but like, see, you like bringing the old with the new.
Yes.
You play anything from Beyonce, Kristen is going to be on the dance floor. The biggest Beyonce fan in life.
Yes, I cannot wait for my birthday.
Chris Beyonce.
He knows. He was on voice note the other day. I have to learn how to save voice notes from IG. I don't know if y'all do this yet. But you said, you're like, yeah, nobody's going to play Beyonce like I'm gonna play it. I was like, that's right. That's
true. Because I know my audience. and the latest album is her best album, period.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I love that as she's matured as an artist, I think she's leaning more into her heart. And I think B spent a lot of years trying to prove herself. Even with songs like Ave Maria, like. You ain't Catholic. Like we don't need you to sing that. Like, but she's leaned more into the essence of who she is, and I think that's what makes her an incredible artist and like the greatest artist of our generation, hands down.
Agreed. I couldn't say it any better than that. So when it comes to trusting your magic, what do you believe your magic is?
Whew. You're gonna ask the hard questions. I believe my magic is, I think it's most present when I'm well rested, when I've eaten the right things, when I've meditated, when I've prayed. And I've learned that there's just a certain light that I carry that's infectious and that it encourages others. You know what I mean? So it kind of circles back to what I was saying earlier, if I weren't DJing, I'll be in some space in which I really want to encourage other people to tap into their light and their gifts, their unique mission here on earth. And I think that's my magic. Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you guys something. Brian is one of my favorite people on the planet and one of the greatest friends ever.
That's big.
No, I mean that truly. Like, when I was preparing for this, I was like, do I break out this email that I wrote because, from the beginning of our friendship, because it solidifies everything I think about you. And I was just like, oh my God, you're amazing. Ah. And then like fast forward, 8-10 years, I'm like, yeah, I still feel the same way.
Well, you are also amazing because you've pulled things out of me that I didn't even know existed tons of times. Like to the point sometimes you're like, what are you doing? but not in a mom way or anything. It's just like there's been moments where you were frustrated with me when I couldn't see myself clearly, and I'm forever grateful to you as a friend because you help a lot of us see ourselves in our full truth versus the stories that we would otherwise believe about ourselves. And so I deeply appreciate you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's a part of your magic.
I appreciate that. So in terms of DJing and even philanthropy and the different things that you do, when did you feel, or why do you feel called to DJ?
I've just always loved music. And for so many years, I didn't know what to do with it. And so at the beginning, I was like, okay, when I knew I wanted to jump into music, I was like between DJing or music supervision for film, television, video games. And I realized that the DJing would be more instant gratification because I get to see and feel the response that people have when they hear music presented to them in a way that they haven't heard it, or even the music that they love in a nostalgic format. And I feel like the music supervision, I'll get to that at a later point. But I'm not sure if I'm answering the question correctly, but...
No, you are. So I've always wondered, like, even the other day I went to see Brian and you had on shades and you were kind of like getting into your groove.
Yeah, I was trying to I had my swag daddy move on. And it's funny because we were in the green room and I know they probably looking at me like, why is this fool? It's 10 o'clock at night. Why he got shades on? And it's funny, for years I never wore shades, but I'm like, now I'm wearing shades and I'm wearing them at night. It just allows you to get into character, you know what I mean? So,
but I always wondered, like, how do you prepare for the moment without getting lost in it? So it's like all these big parties, all these big events, people are waiting for you. Please know, most parties nowadays, the floor is not at all full. You get out there and people start swarming. And I'm like, oh, snap. Like, people are following you. So how do you prepare for that kind of moment without getting lost in it?
One thing that people didn't realize, like, even when we would do the block parties, like, I would go underneath the stage and meditate. Or, like, I would go in the bathroom and, like, meditate for 5-10 minutes, sit on the toilet, center myself, pray for the energy to flow through me, pray that I don't get an ego, get out of hand. It's not about me. It's about being present to the moment and what I'm here to give versus what I'm here to receive. And so that's one way of preparing. The other way is just like doing my best not to talk to too many people within the hour or two before I get on, because people ask the most interesting questions. I've learned over time there's an inverse relationship between the number of questions someone asks before an event versus their actual attendance at the event. The more questions you ask, the less likely you're to come. The less questions you ask, the more likely you're just gonna roll up. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times people ask a lot of questions. How much it costs? What's the door? What's the tire? What's the address? All details that I will easily give to you. And you know me at this point. I'm not gonna even invite you somewhere that it requires a lot, because I'm the person who, that's what also makes me a champion of the sound, because it's more about the music than it is about, what do you look like and what is how tight your dress is and your heels are, and fellas, how much money you spend on bottle service. You know what I mean? So I have to oftentimes distance myself from what I've come to realize are other people's insecurities or anxiety surrounding going out in public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's one way of preparing as well. But then, just like from the musical standpoint, like, how can I bring energy? You know what I mean? And it's I do my best to not put pressure on myself when you say, like, oh, people waiting for me to go, because people get upset.
It's real.
If I went at a time where they weren't expecting, because there's this big in the DJ world, who is the closing DJ is like a big thing, and I'm just like, I learned very early on from a negative experience actually that it doesn't matter when I go, I'm just gonna go off. You know what I mean? So you can put me first, you can put me second, you can put me last. I don't get a big head about those things, because again, it's not about me. It's like me being a vessel in that moment. You know what I mean? It's just some people get disappointed if I go a little earlier, because then they're asking about who's the person after me. And I'm like, this person is amazing. What are you saying?
And it's so funny. We getting older, so I actually prefer you going earlier so I can get home. But now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just nap. I'll come out.
Yeah, just come out, just have a good time.
So you said a couple of things I want to comment on. One, I love that you meditate under the stage. That is so super dope. Secondly, you mentioned something about going out in LA and people feeling nervous. That is a real thing.
I've learned.
Definitely. So for you as a DJ, how have you learned to be comfortable in your skin going out, DJing, even being out amongst a crowd?
Sure. I mean, I learned what environments are for me and which environments were not for me. Again, like I'm not the guy who needs to be in an environment where it's all about bottle service, where there's more tables than there are. If in the real estate within this nightclub or venue space, if there are more tables than there is dance floor, that's not where I need to be, because that represents a level of exclusivity it's not indicative of me. You know what I mean? And that's less about the dancing and celebration. That's more about making money. And so the discernment over the years has allowed me to realize, like, oh, okay, that's not where I need to be. Or, environments where we're going to hold the line just to make sure that it looks like it's packed inside. Then you get inside like, man, this is whack, I just want environments where, it makes me feel more comfortable if everyone's welcome, as long as you just get a ticket, RSVP, something simple. Yeah. And then, again, when I go out in public, I've realized I'm going to give, and just the best way to give is just to be yourself. So
no, it's so true, because when you said that, I've definitely felt that way, and I feel I'm a social butterfly, and I still get nervous. Like,
really? What makes you nervous when you go out?
Just the scene, I think, and feeling like, I'll say, if it's a lot of celebrities, I've had to learn to get comfortable in just being myself.
Really?
So you saying that actually struck a nerve, because there have been parties that you've had, and I'm like, okay, let me mentally prepare myself. I'm not going to let anything stop me from going out. But am I cool enough? Am I dressed sexy enough? I've definitely had those thoughts for sure.
And I've come to learn over years, like, a celebrity is someone whose light is emitting so greatly that a lot of light flashes back into them, from the social media to literally the flash of the paparazzi. I think when you emit a lot of light, then the light just returns to you. And so I think we all have the opportunity just to emit our light, you know what I mean? And it's less about comparing ourselves to anyone else, and just, just being yourself, trusting your magic.
No, for sure, for sure.
And it's a journey, you know what I mean? It takes time for all of us, you know what I mean? But LA is a bunch of prom kings and homecoming queens.
No, because I've joked with you several times. I mean, I just joked you wanted me to go work out, and I was like, I'm not going with that group, because everybody got their shirts off and trying to look fly.
And I showed you a video today of this beautiful pregnant woman who we were clapping up the hill. She was the last one, but like everyone has a different body size and a different type and a different place in their journey. And it's less, don't let the social media just, you see a few fit people.
No, but come on.
But what those clips don't show you are the moments when there's someone who is in a different part of their fit journey, and everyone is encouraging that person along the way. You know what I mean? It's not just about the highlight reel.
Right. I was gonna say, I think sometimes I feel like people do it for the gram, and I just want to be myself. So for instance, like, I'm thinking, if I work out really hard, is somebody gonna post that? Like, I don't want anybody posting that where I'm like really getting it in. Like, that's what I'm thinking.
That's what you want to see, because that would encourage someone else to come too.
But that means I need to have my hair done.
No, you don't. We working out.
I work out in my bonnet, but okay.
Shout out to the bonnet. Listen, I'm here for the bonnet. Let's do it. Yeah, I'll wrap my hair up in something, Erykah Badu rap, and you know what I mean. Like, I'll get it. Then we'll be out there together.
Okay, so tell me when we're hiking, and let's do it.
Got you.
So one place, when you talk about meditating under the stage, I'm assuming that you also do that at your BHAN block party.
That's where it actually started. Other places would be in the bathroom.
Okay, I think that's awesome. So you've been doing that for 8 years now.
Yes,
and now it is a tour. So it has gone from backyard to different. I'm losing my train of thought here, but different lots. It has gone from that to now a national tour.
Yes.
So how do you prepare for that mentally, like DJing, managing people, and also performing, like doing all of that?
So this is year 2, and I'm better at it than I was year 1, but there's still a lot of growth that I have to make. You know what I mean? I'm getting to the point, because I have the business acumen coming from corporate, I can do it. but I'm getting to the point where I no longer am the best to do it because no one's coming to the event like, man, B, you signed an amazing contract on this beautiful space. They don't care about that. They're like, they don't care about you negotiating the deals and how much the porta potties cost. You know what I mean? And shout out to our incredible team, Lulu, Davon, Nadia, Malachi, Lamar, Felicia. You know, they all do an incredible job, and everyone brings their respective talents to the table, which makes it the block party. You know what I mean? Like, I for years tell people like I hate that it's called the Hen Block Party, but we changed the name of it twice and the attendance went down.
Well, wait, what were the other names?
Higher Frequency and Party on the Block.
I don't even remember those names.
Because you didn't come. You didn't come to those, but
really?
Yeah, but you came to the Hen Block Party. So we learned, you know. But the only reason I say I dislike it because sometimes people think it's about me or it's about.
But I am coming to see you do your dance.
But it's about the community. My dance. Do your little dance, daddy. Do your little dance. No, but it's really, it's because I got tired of like these whack ass parties. Like, and like I said, you go to these events and you're like, man, this is woo. And then you look on the gram, it's like, damn, that party was amazing. Where was this at? I was like, oh, I was there. That wasn't my experience. You know what I mean? And so I just wanted to create an environment where we all felt welcome. And that's what the block party experience. I'm from Baltimore. Like when we had block parties, that was what it was all about. But we got somebody food, we got the DJ, got the grandmamas and aunties. You got people coming just to release themselves of the tension that they've experienced all summer, all year, all whatever, and just have a good time. Like it's the essence of being black, you know what I mean? And you know, the challenge of it is because it's still named the Be Him Block Party. I sometimes feel the pressure like if something go right, it's all on me. You know what I mean? And you know, that's just a part of that's as heavy as the head who wears the crown.
That's very true, and people really do look forward to your choreography. I just want you to know that.
Which I used to get teased about back in the day, which is funny.
Why?
Well, I was told you need to learn whether you need to pick whether you want to DJ or you want to dance. You act like you the Diddy of DJing.
Because you are.
I mean, and at the time, I took it as a negative. Shout out to Kid Capri, who told me that many, many moons ago, you know what I mean? But now I realize it's like, you know, in any generation of talent in any field, that they'll look at the next generation like, what the hell are you doing? You know what I mean? But I learned that this is how I've expressed myself since I was like 4 or 5 years old. I've always been dancing. Like I love Janet Jackson Control, you know, album back in the day because I loved it because she was dancing, you know what I mean? And I've learned over time, like, if that's how I naturally express myself, then don't remove that based on somebody else's opinion.
Yeah. No, it's funny because for me, when I see you dancing, one, it tells me you're having a good time, but it's like, I need to turn up even more.
Yeah.
If you going crazy, I got to go ham on this dance floor.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And even this year, I kept it a little bit more chill. I look back at the camera, I was like, nah, I ain't doing that no more. I'm going back to that.
Yeah, we like dancing, Brian.
Yeah, because we shout out to Craig Fishback. He's our choreographer. We had 6 dancers doing a whole West Coast routine, and I came out and it was cool. But I'm like, nah, I ain't trying to be cool. I'm like, let's go up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that makes me think about the fact that I want us to go to a dance class for my birthday.
Let's do it.
Please.
You want to select the class?
Yes. And Phil, I forget his last name. Remember I sent you a video of...
Oh, Phil from Florida.
Phil Wright?
Yes, there you go.
Okay. Does he live out here?
No, he lives here.
Okay. Yeah, I want to take his class.
Let's do it, man.
Okay.
That's intense. Phil can dance.
No, I know.
Yeah, okay, you ready?
You know, so we talk about nervousness and magic and all that stuff. Like, I haven't been to a dance class in so long out here because I get nervous about the fact that, like, everybody's doing things perfectly. Now, I grew up dancing. I've been dancing since I was 3 years old.
Right.
But I want to go to a dance class because I want to conquer that fear.
And that's another distinction. I was told by some choreographers, don't do that. Like, you're being disrespectful to craft. Like, there's real dancers out here. You don't want to integrate that to your set. And these are some people I admire. But I realized it wasn't about being perfect. It's about expressing yourself. You know what I'm saying? So if I miss a step, okay, great. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter. It's just about being up there and expressing yourself as to the best of your ability in that moment. And so I think the same thing goes for class.
Growing up, were you a dancer?
I was dancing my ass off. I used to get in trouble. I was dancing so much. I was dancing and on the step and stomp teams, like in middle school and high school. So, like, you know, I would be supposed to be in math class. I'm like doing all that, and it, like, young man, like none of that in here. I was always making some type of music, beatboxing, on the table or just always doing something. You know what I mean? So yeah, absolutely. I wish we had footage of like as a kid. I was always dancing.
Yeah, when I think about these times, I always reflect on being a young kid. Like, I loved writing, I loved performing. I was a big ham. I used to have a radio show. I would sit in front of my mom and my nana with my Fisher Price, cassette and be like, listen to my radio show.
Yeah.
So to be here in this moment, like, it all makes sense because I've been doing this since I was little.
Yeah, and that's what my friends who have kids now, like I encourage them, like, look at what your child gravitates toward naturally. You know what I mean? I think my parents were just operating from the motto of like, we getting you out the hood, you going to college type of situation. And so it was ignoring the things that I was naturally gifted at doing or naturally had an interest in doing. But, I think when we lean more into those natural gifts, it just makes this life a lot more joyful.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. So switching gears.
Shout out to your mom, because I know your mom supported that journey big time.
Yeah. Shout out to mommy.
Yes.
No, she did for sure. Because when I look back, like, I have so many journals. I have like 50 journals.
Word.
So I've been writing since I was 3,
Uh-huh.
performing and dancing since I was 3. That's one thing I really miss now. Like, I want to make more time for. So I always joke about, like, my birthday party is when I go ham. And everyone thinks I'm drunk, and I'm not drunk. I'm just having
I've seen you go ham at my parties too. So yes, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's in there, and I think we all are self-conscious about something. But I think when we release that, because the music is so great, then none of that stuff even matters, and then you feel good afterwards.
No, you feel amazing.
Yeah.
And also, it's funny. I feel like
you be having a whole circle around you. Like, don't let Kristen try to like, I don't. Da, da, da. No, it'd be a whole people clapping you on, like going ham, and that just only turns up more. That hair be flinging left and right, and like going. You laughing because you know it's true.
It is true.
you know it's true.
And you know what's funny? One of my really dear friends, I'll never forget, I went to a Michael Jackson party with him. This might have been 10 years ago. Shout out to Rahman. This might have been 10 or 15 years ago. We went to a Michael Jackson versus Prince party. They used to have those they actually still do, have them in New York and LA and whatnot. And my whole team from work went. And we didn't know we all were going, but basically 4 of us were there, and we were all dancing our hearts out. And one of my team members was like, I feel like I know you better after being on the dance floor with you. I was like, wow, I really appreciate that, but it's true because your heart comes out in a different way.
And you're present.
I've met some of my closest friends on the dance floor. Shout out to Wish 26 and DJ Kamish.
Yeah, what's up, Kamish?
I used to go.
Him a phone call.
Yeah, after work, I would go to Wish 26 at 6 p.m. at night.
Wow.
People would be sweating their suits out by 7:30, and he would be playing music, and I shouted at him. I went up, like, oh my God, you're amazing! And we're good friends, but I met like at least 5 of my closest friends on the dance floor on that. Yeah,
that's what they call music, that universal language. It ignores all of our differences, and that vibration and frequency just brings you close.
Yeah. So switching gears just a little bit.
Sure.
I often say that you are everything that shines.
No pressure. No pressure, please.
You and also D Nice, I will say. I be like, he's everything that shines. But also when I talk to friends about you, they basically say the same thing or they beam about you. So do you know why that is?
I think maybe kind of saying, going back to what I was saying earlier, just like when I'm in my best version of self, I think I'm very motivating and encouraging. You know, what I mean? I think I get that from my mom. My aunt told me that before. And in an environment like LA where people perceive that everyone is moving from an individualistic mentality and it's all about me, I think at times when I get to interact with my friends, or I guess is different than maybe what their typical experience is. Okay. But I mean, I'm with me every day, so that's just my guess.
So, but when I said that, you're like, oh God, no pressure. So like, or do you get uncomfortable when people acknowledge that about you?
Less now than what I used to. I used to get super uncomfortable about it. But, it's just tongue in cheek now.
Okay.
I get it now.
Okay, but why were you uncomfortable?
Well, I feel like when you are put on a pedestal in any capacity, then it's just a bigger drop You know what I mean? If for some reason I disappointed someone, and particularly then, I was in my people pleasing stage, and so it just felt like more pressure to make sure others were happy. Sometimes at the sacrifice of my own happiness.
I think that's interesting because when I say that about you, it's actually not to put you on a pedestal. It's to acknowledge you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Like, truly, it's never like in that kind of regard. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's just to be like, I just hope you know the kind of impact that you make on others and the kind of impact you made on me. But not to make you feel like, like weird or anything. I think it's important to tell people.
I received that. Thank you.
Yeah. So when you said that, I was like, wait, I just want to call that out for a second. Because it's not to say like, you better than everybody on the planet.
Nah,
but
I definitely don't take it that way. I just always believe that it's less about me being special and more so like encouraging others to see the same in themselves. You know what I mean? So that's why.
Okay. You attract a lot of that energy, and I would say that comes from both men and women.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever get nervous about that, or how do you, I guess, balance energy that comes your way when people want to get to know you better?
That's a great question. It's really the discernment, and I that's just something that's happened over years. You know what I mean? Because at one moment or another, sometimes people will, position themselves as if they have business to interact with you. To talk to you about when they really want the business, which is a whole nother story. And it's like, wait a minute, hold up.
Hello.
You know what I mean? And I pride myself on that. Like I've never leveraged my platform to go sleep with anybody. You know what I'm saying? I never left the DJ booth and now I'm scooping you up and we going to do our thing. Unless we already had a thing going on. You know what I mean? But never like I met somebody at the party and I used my ability as the piper. You know what I mean? But no, just balancing energy. It's just really discernment, and I've learned over time I'm an empath, and so a lot of times I can feel what it is the intentions are. You know what I mean? And so
yes, I've had people push me out the way to try to get to you.
And I can't speak to what their intentions are, but it probably was different than what mine are. And I'm here to make you dance.
I'd be like, could you stop stepping on my feet? Could you stop?
I've seen that. But I don't let it. I don't allow it to get a big head. I've actually, even in dating, I've been told that it's a challenge to be with me because of the attention. And I'm like, well, that's the same thing that got your attention. So why are you mad? No, but it's like I can't dim my light to be in a relationship. I've done it before and that shit don't work. Yeah.
Okay. So have you ever, well, I can say this is a no for me, but have you ever met somebody and felt like your light can shine with them? Or do you feel in dating that you run into that often?
No, because you get to know me beyond the glitz and glam of the thing I do, then I don't think it's a problem. I think the only thing is a challenge is I travel a lot right now. Like what are we now? About to be in September. And there's 3 international trips on the docket right now. You know what I mean? So that becomes a challenge just in the moving about. But outside of that, nah, I think the right person, you're shining your light as well. And so I'll support you, you'll support me, and then that's where we meet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And have you experienced that yet?
No.
Okay.
It's coming. It's in escrow.
It is coming. Please speak that.
It's in escrow right now.
That's awesome. So, I've talked obviously a lot about how you've been supportive, but do you allow other people to support you?
I think this year I've allowed people to support me more than probably any other year. Earlier this year I went through a bad depression and it was so unexpected, you know what I mean? And it was bad, like 45 days of just me being under a bus, in a very, very dark cloud. And I shared it with some of my friends and they showed up, you know what I mean? They showed up overwhelmingly so, even to the point, it was Super Bowl weekend and my dad called me and he was like, we were playing phone tag, but he finally was able to get me on the phone. He's like, oh, I must not be able to reach you because it's Super Bowl Sunday. Where are you DJing? I'm like, I'm not DJing. He's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm in the bed. And Super Bowl was in LA, so why would you not be DJing this huge event weekend? I'm just like, I'm not in a good space. And surprisingly, he got on a flight and came to LA the next day, you know what I mean? And our relationship over the years has been extremely trying, but it was a great, move on his part to show up for me. You know what I mean? And that also, I experienced that same thing with my friends and my brothers and my family as well. And so I think when you're the strong friend, you're so accustomed to playing that role that sometimes we don't even realize that we're not allowing people to show up. You know what I mean? But it took me to be in a super bad place in order for me to realize how much I actually really am loved. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that I can definitely relate to that.
Or being a strong friend?
Yeah.
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 So how you allow people to show up for you?
I think now it's just being open and honest about my feelings.
Yeah.
So if somebody asks me how am I tell them genuinely. And also I think I try to tell people when I want to see them, so my love languages would be quality time and physical touch. But when it comes to quality time, just letting people know I want to see them, I want to reach out and touch them. So I try to be vocal about that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You getting good results from it?
No, I think so. Yeah.
No, I love that. I mean, I definitely know your love language is quality time for sure. For sure.
How do you know that?
One time we were trying to get together, and I was like, "You already know what I'm about to say." Me and Kristen and I were trying to get together, and she was trying to. I don't know where you were inviting me to. I'm like, "Yeah, let's go to Coffee Bean," and it became a running insult / joke in our friendship. He tried to coffee bean me. I was just like, I was running around the business. I'm like, "Let's meet at the coffee shop. And let's have And it was Kristen was not having it. She was like, That is
true.
not real quality time.
That
Coffee
is
bean
true.
time is not it.
If you try to take me to the coffee shop or I try to take you to the coffee shop, I don't really want to hang out. Like, I'm being honest. I'm being completely transparent. So, yeah, I remember I did say don't coffee bean me.
But I think that it's indicative of where people are in their journey. Like at that point, I was just out here hustle, get it, trying to like do everything. And that's what felt most appropriate. Whereas now it's like, nah, you know what I mean? I'm not even going to Coffee Bean. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to diss you. Ooh, she did not take it that way though. Ooh-wee.
Yeah, no, that was bad.
So your fellas, if you're getting to know Kristen, do not invite her to no damn coffee shop. She's not having it.
Oh, man. So, speaking of coffee, cups, all of that, what fills your cup?
What fills my cup? It's really interesting you asked that because DJing has become such work, and it's the business of DJing that has become such work. You know what I mean? It's the business of entertainment, just period. You know what I mean? People only see you performing, but they don't know how many conversations, emails, texts, phone calls, negotiations, even with my amazing manager, Lulit, there's still, who she's running the behind the scenes of so many amazing things I'm blessed to do. There's still so much involvement to make it actually happen for every event. And so I've learned that the things that need to fill my cup actually don't even fall in the space of that anymore. So I found myself more on the adventurous side lately. Like I start off-roading with my Jeep, running over big rocks and jet skiing and actually skiing on the snow slopes and doing things that just drive my adrenaline. That's what's starting to fill my cup up, you know what I mean? And then on the more chill side, like spending time with my friends. That's the one blessed thing about traveling. I never feel like, oh, it's my friend in Chicago, or it's my friend in DC. Oh, I see my friends all throughout the year because I'm able to kick it with them on days where I'm not working in their respective cities. You know what I mean? So that those things fill my cup up probably more than the DJing does right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, how do you center yourself?
I feel like I'm forced to be centered sometimes because I can go so hard. So sometimes what centers me is when I get sick. Unfortunately, being out too many nights or thinking that sleeping on the plane is real sleep. Traveling sleep is not real sleep. I don't know if we ever even hit REM when you're on a flight. Because I'll be like, oh, from New York to LA, 6 hours. I can sleep on a plane. So oftentimes I have to get forced to sit down. My body's like, I don't like you. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay. And so turning off my phone, or putting it on Do Not Disturb, literally just reading, journaling, those things, I think, help keep me grounded and centered.
Okay, okay. What are some of your spiritual practices?
I got so many. It's funny. I was talking to someone today, and I was telling about when I practiced Buddhism. He's like, "Oh, how was that?" I was like, "Well, I no longer practice it actively, but I'm one to believe that how do I best say it? There's so many different ways to embark upon your enlightenment, and I look at it as a spiritual toolbox. Prayer is one tool, yoga, meditation, being in nature, hugging a tree, grounding yourself, putting your feet in the earth, in the grass, on the beach, on the sand, in the water. And depending on where I'm going through, or even, like I said, chanting, like I did for so many years with Buddhism, depending on what I need in the moment, I pick that particular tool, and just like every job doesn't require a hammer, it may require a screwdriver or a wrench. I think it's the same thing in our lives. At different moments, we need different things.
Yeah.
So I embrace a lot of things. Yeah.
You mentioned moving away from Buddhism. Is there any particular reason why?
I think with all organized religions, just like those who practice Christianity, I've been told, like, I wish I met Christ before I met the Christians. I wish I met Christ before I met the Christians, because anything that man is a part of is naturally going to be flawed. And I just experienced some of those flaws, and it just wasn't for me at a certain point. But I realized that my relationship, with source, with God, with the universe, is my direct relationship, and I needed to spend more time cultivating that one-on-one relationship than it was for me to be in this group. Particularly for me, I'm always in a group environment. So when it comes down to aligning, it didn't necessarily have to be with the group.
Yeah. No, it's interesting when you say that. I actually came to a few
Buddhist
meetings.
Yeah,
we
was at my house, and I'm your Horengekyo. And she came in like, "Whew, what's this?" I mean, we 25, 30 deep in my crib chanting to the Gohanzen, and I appreciate you being open and coming.
Yeah, for sure. But I would say, I was open to it because of you. And it's interesting how people can be open or closed to different things based on who introduces them to them.
For sure.
So just thank you for that,
No
just in
worries.
terms of different practices and things like that. I love praying and meditating and, centering myself. I often mention the ancestors as well. Like,
Absolutely.
I feel like I'm in conversation with the ancestors all the time.
Absolutely.
And whenever I'm in a situation or feeling like turmoil or whatever, for some reason, I always feel like at the darkest hour, it almost feels like, shoo, like they've taken me out of it.
For sure. And I very much do believe in that. I've had ancestral readings. I believe, my mom is no longer with me physically, but I believe she's here with me spiritually all the time. I believe we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And when we, are no longer, when we pass or we transition, that doesn't mean we're no longer present. I don't think that just because we can't see it, or just because we think we live in this realm, we actually live in multiple realms. It's just a matter of you tapping into it. And I think a lot of the things as Black people, how we were raised in America, we think that anything that isn't lily white baby Jesus is the devil. And I think that's an effect of colonialism. I think that's an effect of slavery. I think that our spiritual grounding and rooting as a culture was taken away from us during that transatlantic slave trade. And I pray that, all the things that happened in 2020 that not only made us woke, but it awakens us to the true essence of who we are. And that's a spiritual being. And in understanding that, it gives us room to explore things beyond that which was forced upon us. Yeah.
So with that being said, do you have any practices that you would say are non-traditional?
I definitely dig into astrology, for sure. And I've had my birth chart read, my natal chart read for the last 10 plus years at this point.
What time were you born?
What time was I born? I can't tell that, because that's like giving my sauce away. I need to know my chart. I don't need everybody else knowing my chart. But it was a Thursday. But no, I think that's extremely unique and important. And people oftentimes they just see your sun sign. That's just like saying, well, you Black. There's all types of Black. The Black person from Trinidad is different from the Black person from DC, and just because you're Sagittarius, right? Sagittarius is your sun sign, but then there's your moon, your rising, your Venus, your Mars. Each of those planets represents a characteristic, and they fall within a sign, and they fall within a house. And once you dig into what each of those things mean, it colors not only the characteristics of your being, but it also is powerful enough to tell you like what you're naturally gifted at doing. You know what I mean? I believe the three wise men were astrologers. You know what I mean? Like, I believe that, our ancestors use astrology as a tool to like understand what you would be naturally gifted at doing upon coming to this earth. And so again, circling back to the thing I'm most passionate about is like getting people to see the true essence of who they are so they can live their life full of passion and purpose and, fulfill their mission.
I'm going to find out his time, guys.
I'll tell you offline.
No, it's so funny because I follow that as well. I can't read my chart on my own, I'll be honest with you, but I get very excited about learning about that stuff and how times and location, your birth location means something.
Yeah, for sure.
All of that. So, it's very interesting. And I was born on a Sunday, so thank you for that.
Praise the Lord.
Turkey baby. So tell me a little bit about what you are focused on and working on right now.
Right now, I'm excited because this year is representing a transition in the creative space, and I'm shifting more to becoming a festival DJ. And so I was blessed to have my first set at Coachella weekend 2 this year. And I'm now on the way to perform at Afropunk, which I learned my set time today. I'm going to be playing in between Isaiah Rashad and The Roots.
Nice.
And they're the final acts of the night on day 1 of Afropunk in Brooklyn. Shout out to Brooklyn.
Yes.
So I'm really, really, really excited about that because it just represents kind of what I was saying earlier, just being able to express myself as creatively as possible. I will say this, though. I spent a lot of years extremely frustrated that the things I want and wanted were not happening now. I was very impatient. And I think in the frustration of them not happening when I thought they should happen, that's when the comparison came in. Looking at what other people are doing. Should I emulate them, or am I going to be annoyed with that person, or just the range of human emotions that you go through. But I'm overwhelmingly confident now to understand that those things didn't happen then because I wasn't ready. You may want something, but in it being withheld from you at the time, it's a dream delayed and deferred. It's not denied at all. And it's less about the accomplishment of the thing. It's about who you become in the process. You know what I mean? And who I was 5-6 years ago when I wanted Afropunk stage is completely different now. And I think I'm in a better place to understand why it's happening and appreciate it too. You know what I mean?
What has changed about you from then to now?
I am more patient. I do understand everything comes in divine order. I trust my magic a lot more. And, even though I was being a little bashful about it earlier, like I do understand what I mean to other people. You know what I mean? And I own it a lot more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if you're going to be on that platform, imagine Janet Jackson being on a platform and she's just unsure of herself. You know what I mean? She's still human. You're going to have those moments, but when you're on that stage, you're giving energy to others. And so you got to be certain of what you came to give. And I'm far more certain now.
Yeah. It's like when Beyonce says, I'm one of one.
I'm the only one.
Yes.
But that's a great distinction because that's where she is in her career now. But remember that, I think it was the HBO special. Why did God give me this light? I didn't ask for it, or whatever she was saying at the time. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And people looking at you like, woman, what you talking about? You're the greatest. But if you don't see yourself in that light, no, people can tell you all the time. But you when you own it, it's different. And I still have people tell me, you don't really know, or you don't really own it. I'm like, well, the journey is still continuing. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. It's that, but also, too, I think there's a fine line, when it comes to humility and also allowing, how can I say this? It's humility and also confidence and standing in your light, because even now there's certain things, I'll be honest with you, I'm like, no one can do that like me. But I also say it in a particular way that it is palatable for others, if that makes sense, because I never want somebody to think I'm being cocky, but I am confident and I know where my strengths are, and then I also know the things that I need to work on.
For sure. And that's I think another aspect of growth. I'm less concerned about what other people think, and I'm more even sometimes I'm less concerned about what I think. I'm more concerned about how do I feel. I'm allowing my feelings to serve as my guides, because your mind.
Ooh, I remember Brian read this book he sent to me called "Fuck Your Feelings," and you just said, because I do believe that feelings are a guide and a compass.
And I mean, that's a great book at that particular juncture, but now, nah, you know what I mean? Like, I think in westernized cultures, we spend so much time, valuing facts and logic and reasoning, but then people make all types of crazy decisions based on feelings. And so I think when my mind and my heart kind of finally got on the same plane, then there's the balance, you know what I mean? So feelings are powerful.
Okay, so how do you feel right now?
I feel great. I'm
Good.
here with you. I'm here with KC in the place to be, trusting my magic. But I mean, about you, like, where do your feelings fall in line with your career and life just as a whole?
I feel like my feelings definitely are a guide for me. So if I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed, I always take a beat and say, number one, this is not a huge moment that's going to ruin your life, number one. So like, what are you really feeling? So I had to get honest with myself about, I feel insecure, or I feel like I don't feel supported, or whatever the case may be. And then I get to the root of that issue, and then I go to solve it. Like, okay, do I need to speak to a particular person about something? Do I need to go within? What do I need to do to feel at peace? So that's number one. In terms of feeling happy or joyful, or even in this moment, just like feeling in gratitude, is like understanding I'm right where I need to be, and understanding that everything happens in its time. Because I've always wanted to do this. Like, people always ask me, it's funny, my best friend asked me last week, when did you decide to do the podcast? I'm like, well, number one, I've been wanting to do it for years. But when I decided who I wanted to interview, that was just Sunday. And then I reached out to you guys on Monday. So she thought I had it like all planned out. I was like, no, once I decided what I wanted the direction to be, I called you guys immediately.
Like, let's do it.
And then you stuck it to me because I was like, guys, we'll start in September. You're like, well, I'm free between.
Listen, I work very well with calendars and dates. And I'm just like,
okay.
I would love to do it, and I'm not available this time. So let's do it sooner than later. And then I think we take advantage of momentum.
Yes.
and that's why she's laughing, because Kristen enrolled me in a program called Momentum Education, and it was something that completely changed. It's one of those moments in life that changed everything, because it got me out of the way of my excuses and allowed me to step into the realm of possibility. And that's where the opportunity for anything new resides, if you will, is in the space of possibility.
Yeah.
So I think if we'd have pushed it off, you know what I mean, we got lessening possibility.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it, because I said, okay, you're only available this particular week. Let's do it. Let's go on ahead and like make it happen. I don't need to push anything off.
Yeah.
We're going to try something new and make it happen. So thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So where can the people find you?
They can find me on all my social handles at ITS Brian, spelled with an I, Henry, and all the platforms.
Yes. So this is Brian Henry. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I'm elated that we're able to be here.
Thank you, Kristen.
And this is Trust Your Magic, the podcast. So we'll see you guys next time.